Hey everyone, and welcome back to English Naturally podcast. I'm Daniel. We're really happy to have you here with us today.
And I'm Sarah. Thank you so much for joining us again.
Today's episode is about a very real part of life, something we all experience at some point.
We're going to talk about problems, stress, and making difficult decisions.
Sometimes life feels easy and calm. Everything seems to go well.
But sometimes everything happens at the same time. Work problems, big decisions, and even small annoying things.
When all of this comes together, it can feel like too much.
So today, we're going to help you. We'll show you the English you need to talk about these moments clearly and naturally.
Here's how today's episode will work.
First, you'll listen to a short conversation between two friends, Emma and Josh.
They use real everyday English. You'll hear useful phrases about stress, confusion, and tough choices.
After the dialogue, Daniel and I will explain each important word and phrase slowly and clearly.
We'll tell you what each phrase means, give you simple examples, and share a few personal stories to help you remember them better.
And don't worry if you don't understand everything the first time. You can pause, go back, and listen again.
So, are you ready to hear how Emma and Josh handle a really difficult week?
Let's listen to the dialogue. Josh, honestly, my brain feels like a complete mess today. I feel like I'm totally in a muddle. Nothing feels clear in my head, and everything feels mixed up.
Oh no, Emma. That sounds really stressful. What's going on? What happened?
Well, it's something at work. Actually, not just work, life in general. Right now, I'm facing a big dilemma. I've received 2 job offers, and both are good in different ways, but I just can't decide.
Wow, that's a big situation. 2 job offers can be exciting, but also confusing. What are the jobs like?
So, the first job pays really well. It's a big company with a good salary and a nice office, but the work sounds very boring. Just spreadsheets and reports all day. Nothing exciting at all.
Yeah, that doesn't sound very interesting.
Exactly. The second job sounds amazing, working with people, planning events, and sometimes traveling. I think I would really enjoy the work, but the pay is much lower. So now I'm stuck in a dilemma: money or passion, stability or happiness.
That's a classic dilemma. And honestly, it's a very hard choice.
It really is. And on top of that, my current job is making things worse. They keep giving me more and more tasks. No extra pay, no help. I feel like I'm in a tight corner, like I can't move in any direction without causing problems.
That's terrible. Small problems like losing your keys or missing a bus are only mildly irritating. You feel annoyed, but you move on quickly. But what you're dealing with sounds intensely annoying. It's the kind of stress that stays with you all day.
Exactly. Now every tiny thing makes me feel crazy. Someone at work left dirty dishes in the kitchen, and I almost cried because of it. It feels like all my patience is gone. Honestly, sometimes I just want to take a back seat. I want to stop trying to fix everything and let someone else deal with the mess.
And you know what? That's okay. You don't always have to be the one in charge. Sometimes stepping back helps you breathe again.
Maybe you're right. I'm really trying to stay positive. I keep telling myself that maybe I'm starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel, like maybe this stressful time will end soon.
I truly believe it will. You're strong, Emma, but you're also right about one thing. You need to make a decision soon. If you wait too long, you might come to a dead end where neither job is available anymore.
Yes, that's my biggest fear. If I wait too long, I could lose both options and stay stuck in the same old, unhappy place.
So maybe the first step is this: get to the bottom of things.
What do you mean exactly?
Really find out the truth about both jobs. Ask hard questions. Talk to people who already work there. Try to get real answers, not just the nice things they say in interviews.
That makes sense. I think I'll email both companies. Maybe I'll even call someone who works there. I want to know what a real working day looks like.
Exactly. And you also need to get a clear grasp of what matters most to you.
Yeah, I need to sit down and really think. Is it better to earn more money but feel bored every day, or earn less money but feel excited and proud of my work?
No one else can give you the right answer, but once you get a grasp of what your heart really wants, the decision will feel easier.
Thanks, Josh. Honestly, just talking about it is already helping me. My mind still feels a little muddled, but now I can see a way forward.
That's good to hear. You're doing the right thing. Take your time, ask questions, and listen to yourself. You are stronger and smarter than you think, Emma.
Thank you. I really needed to hear that today.
Anytime. That's what friends are for.
All right, now let's talk about some of the useful phrases we heard in the conversation.
Let's start with the very first thing Emma said.
She said, I'm in a muddle.
Now, when you are in a muddle, it doesn't just mean you're busy.
It means your mind feels messy and confused.
You don't know what to do first. Everything feels mixed up in your head.
It's that feeling when you have too many thoughts and too many problems at the same time.
For example, imagine you move to a new city.
You have a new job, a new home, and new daily routines.
At first, you might forget things. You might feel lost or overwhelmed.
In that situation, you can say, I'm in a muddle right now.
It's important to know this phrase is very natural and friendly.
It doesn't mean you are lazy or bad at your job.
It simply means life has given you too much at once, and your mind needs time to catch up.
You can use it in simple sentences like, I'm in a muddle today. I don't know where to start.
Or, she's in a muddle because she has many deadlines this week.
It sounds softer and more human than just saying, I'm confused.
And that's why it's such a useful phrase for everyday English.
All right, let's move on to the next important word we heard.
Emma said she was facing a dilemma.
So, what does dilemma mean?
A dilemma is a situation where you have two choices, but neither choice feels easy.
It's not like one choice is good and the other is bad.
Both choices have good points and bad points at the same time.
That's why a dilemma feels heavy and stressful.
You want to choose correctly, but you're afraid of making the wrong decision.
Dilemmas can be big or small.
Big dilemmas can be things like changing jobs, moving to a new country, or choosing between career and family time.
But dilemmas can also be small.
For example, choosing between two events on the same day or deciding how to spend your free time.
Even small dilemmas can make you feel stressed.
Because no matter what you choose, you feel like you are losing something.
That's why we often say, I'm facing a dilemma.
It feels like you are standing in front of a difficult situation and you can't avoid it.
Here are some simple examples you can use.
I'm facing a dilemma about changing my job.
She's in a dilemma between studying abroad and starting a new job.
And you can also say it very simply, I'm in a dilemma.
It's a very common and natural phrase in everyday English. Now, let's look at another very useful phrase Emma used.
She said, I feel like I'm in a tight corner.
When you are in a tight corner, it means you are stuck in a difficult situation.
You don't have many choices, and every option feels hard.
It's like being in a small space where you can't move easily.
No matter which direction you turn, there seems to be a problem.
People often use this phrase when they feel pressure from all sides.
For example, you might have too much work to do and not enough time.
Or you may have promised help to two people at the same time.
In those moments, you can say, I'm in a tight corner.
This phrase doesn't only describe the situation.
It also describes the feeling, stress, pressure, and worry all together.
Here are a few simple examples.
I'm in a tight corner at work today. I have 2 deadlines.
He was in a tight corner after losing his passport while traveling.
She's in a tight corner because she promised too much to too many people.
Sometimes just saying this phrase helps other people understand that you need patience or support. It's a strong but very natural way to explain a hard moment in life.
Now, let's talk about two very useful expressions that describe different levels of problems.
The first one is mildly irritating.
When something is mildly irritating, it means it is a little annoying.
It's not a serious problem. You feel bothered, but you can move on easily.
For example, when the bus is 5 minutes late.
Or when you spill a little coffee on your shirt.
You might sigh or smile, but it doesn't ruin your day.
That's what we call mildly irritating.
Now, let's look at the opposite feeling.
Intensely annoying means something is very frustrating.
It often happens when a small problem repeats again and again.
Or when it feels like it's attacking your peace of mind.
For example, a neighbor who plays loud music late at night every single day.
At first, it might be mildly irritating.
But after several days, it becomes intensely annoying.
You feel tired, angry, and unable to relax.
Another example is when someone keeps leaving dirty dishes in the sink.
One time is fine, but after many times, it becomes intensely annoying. So remember, mildly irritating is small and easy to forget.
Intensely annoying is heavy and stays with you for a long time.
Now, let's talk about another very useful phrase that we heard in the dialogue.
The phrase is to take a back seat.
When you take a back seat, it means you stop trying to lead or control everything.
You step back and let someone else take charge for a while.
Think about sitting in a car.
The driver is in control. They choose the direction.
But if you sit in the back seat, you're not making decisions.
You're just there, watching and resting.
In real life, this phrase is not negative.
It doesn't mean you're lazy or that you don't care.
Often, it means you are tired or you need a break.
Or maybe someone else can handle the situation better at that moment.
For example, if you're always organizing everything at work.
Meetings, plans, decisions, all of it.
At some point, you may feel exhausted.
Then you can say, I need to take a back seat for a while.
Here are some simple examples.
I decided to take a back seat and let my teammate lead the project.
She took a back seat during the discussion to reduce stress.
So remember, taking a back seat can be healthy.
It can help you relax, think more clearly, and breathe again. Now, let's move on to a very hopeful and positive expression.
The phrase is to see the light at the end of the tunnel.
When you see the light at the end of the tunnel, it means you believe a difficult time is almost over.
You're still in a hard situation, but you can finally see hope.
You feel that things are starting to get better.
Imagine walking through a long, dark tunnel.
At first, everything is dark and tiring.
But then, far away, you see a small light.
That light tells you the tunnel will end soon.
In life, this phrase works the same way.
For example, when you've been studying for exams for months.
You feel tired and stressed every day.
But when the last exam is coming, you can say, I can see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Another example is working very hard to save money.
When you finally get close to your goal, that's your light at the end of the tunnel.
This phrase helps you stay strong and not give up.
It reminds you that difficult times are not forever.
Here are a couple of simple examples.
After months of job searching, I finally got an interview. I can see the light at the end of the tunnel.
The repairs are almost finished. There's light at the end of the tunnel.
It's a beautiful way to talk about hope in English. Now let's talk about a phrase that sounds a little heavier.
The phrase is to come to a dead end.
When you come to a dead end, it means you cannot move forward anymore.
There are no more options. Nothing is progressing.
Think about driving on a road.
Suddenly, the road stops.
You can't go forward.
You have to stop, turn around, and choose a different direction.
In life, this happens too.
You might be working on a plan, a project, or a dream for a long time.
But one day, you realize it's not going to work.
At that moment, you have come to a dead end.
This phrase does not mean failure.
It simply means that this path is no longer right for you.
And that's okay.
Sometimes coming to a dead end is the start of a new beginning.
You stop wasting energy and start looking for a new way.
Here are some simple examples. We tried to fix the problem, but we came to a dead end.
After months of trying, the project came to a dead end.
So remember, a dead end is not the end of your life.
It's just a sign that it's time to change direction. Now let's look at another very important phrase.
The phrase is to get to the bottom of things.
When you get to the bottom of things, you find the real reason for a problem.
You don't only look at what you can see on the surface.
You ask questions. You investigate. You try to understand what is really happening.
It's like solving a small mystery in real life.
Instead of guessing or blaming, you look for facts and truth.
For example, if something keeps going wrong at work,
At first, you might think, this is just bad luck.
but when you get to the bottom of things, you may discover a real cause.
Maybe there is a misunderstanding. Maybe there is missing information.
Once you know the real reason, it becomes easier to fix the problem.
Here are some simple examples.
Let's get to the bottom of this issue before making a decision.
She talked to her team to get to the bottom of the problem.
This phrase is very useful when you want to sound calm, smart, and clear.
It shows that you want solutions, not drama. All right, now let's move on to the final phrase from today's episode.
The phrase is to get a grasp.
When you get a grasp of something, it means you truly understand it.
Not just a little, but clearly and confidently.
At first, something new may feel confusing,
Your mind feels full, and nothing makes sense.
but after time, practice, and patience, things start to click.
That moment is when you say, I finally got a grasp of it.
For example, when you start a new job.
In the beginning, everything feels difficult.
But after a few weeks, you understand your tasks better.
You can then say, I'm starting to get a grasp of my work.
Here are a few simple examples.
It took me some time, but I finally got a grasp of English grammar.
She's trying to get a grasp of her new responsibilities.
Getting a grasp takes time, and that's completely normal.
So don't be hard on yourself.
Learning happens step by step.
And that brings us to the end of today's episode on English Naturally podcast.
We really hope you enjoyed learning these useful expressions and that they help you talk about life more naturally.
Remember, it's okay to feel confused sometimes.
What matters is taking small steps forward.
Thank you so much for listening today.
Until next time, keep practicing, keep smiling, and keep learning English naturally.
See you next time.
Bye for now.